So one of the big things we look at when it comes to kind of dating when these creatures lived is how far down in the layers of sediment, that have solidified into rock are. So obviously, the lower down in these layers, the older they are. Now, these formations of layers, they take millions of years
No, they
to
don't.
settle.
I got let him guys let him get it out. We can
Sorry.
hear both sides of the argument over here. No problem. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good, man. So because these layers take so long, we can also see, kind of estimate. I won't
I
say
have to
this
jump
proves
in.
this.
They
Because,
are created those
lady,
years only.
hold on,
Just one
hold on a
sentence
second.
before
Come
I
on,
go.
guys. Come on. I'm gonna remove you. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that, guys. Come on, we're gonna show some respect in here. We can hear both sides of the argument, okay, guys? We can hear the guys that just agree with us just as much as we can the people that agree with us. So, brother, I apologize again. I went ahead
That's
and
all
booted
good.
her, so you can get your point out, brother. Go ahead.
You're all good. You're all good. So, the thing is, we can also kind of guess how long some of these, eras were based on the thicknesses of these layers. And so the reason why we find land and sea creature fossils, in similar rock layers is because throughout that era, throughout that layer, sea levels rise or fall. And, so there are parts in, continental USA where we find shark fossils pretty far inland. The reason for that is because millions of years ago, sea levels were way higher, and most of this was underwater. So I wanted to point out the fact that the reason that we are kind of able to take our first guess as to how long ago these things lived is due to the depth of which these things were buried.
All right, so let me address that right there, because
Absolutely.
I understand the model that it shows, the geologic column, but that's not necessarily true, because you see that these dinosaur bone beds are actually at the top of the surface right here, like the Morrison Formation, the Hells Creek Formation. The reason why we know about them is not because somebody was digging and actually found one. It's because they're clearly eroding away and they're at the top of the surface now. So they're not very deep. Although I do understand the model. And a lot of places on the earth, they say that, okay, well, the model goes like this. So evolution started off from bacteria, and then it goes into crustaceans like the Cambrian explosion. And then it goes, the next layer above that, we find fish, amphibian, reptile, mammal, and then birds, obviously. And so they say, well, because we find them not everywhere consistently like that, but I would say the majority of the time you can probably find them in that order. Well, that would also fit the flood model, because crustaceans are going to be buried first, because if you have a landslide, even underwater, the very lowest points on Earth where you have these landslides, you're gonna have crustaceans at the bottom, because that's where they live. Then the next layer above that, you're going to find fish, because that's where they live. And then the next layer above that, you're going to find amphibians, because that's where they live. So imagine I went to Ripley's aquarium, right? And they have all of these sea creatures inside of this aquarium. And I start filling up the aquarium with sediment. And then it displaces the water and pushes all the water out, but it buries all the animals. You're going to come in there, 1,000 years from now, and you're going to dig it up, and you're going to find the crustaceans at the bottom. You're going to find the fish in the next layer. Then you're going to find the amphibians above that. And on the very top, you're going to find reptiles, mammals, and birds, because that's the order that they live, not the order that they evolved. So we would make the same prediction as far as the column is concerned. Now, to show you that these things are not millions of years apart, because we believe that the geologic column was laid down during Noah's flood, is called hydrologic sorting. Are you familiar with what they call polystrate fossils?
I've heard the term. I haven't read too much into that specifically. But
Yeah,
I
you
would
can
like
just
to...
Google polystrate fossils, and it's fossilized trees that go through many different layers. So clearly these layers cannot be millions of years apart if you have a tree that's connecting all of them.
Okay, all right. If I may, I'd like to reply to the to your argument about the sediment.
That's called a
Sure.
So I absolutely get the crustaceans and stuff being at the bottom going up, and we do see that depending on areas and stuff like that. But we also find bird fossils. We find all of these creatures in these layers. So there is a change between each layer of some animals, because some animals they remain unchanged for longer periods of time. So you look at sharks And, sharks have remained unchanged for 400 some odd million years. Some species. Anyway.
Yeah, but it always goes against the predictions, though, because no disrespect to the evolutionists, but that's what happens. So, like Archaeopteryx, they predicted Archaeopteryx was the change between reptiles and birds until, they found birds in lower sediment layers than Archaeopteryx. So Archaeopteryx clearly wasn't the missing link. So that's why most people's backed off of that argument, because there's been modern regular birds found in layers lower than Archaeopteryx.
True, and that's one of the things I love about science is that we do make predictions. A lot of people, and especially people who are more scientifically based, a lot of people say that, science is concrete proof of stuff. Not necessarily. Science deals in evidence, So we have a claim that we kind of stick to for a while until something comes along to change it. Then we go, we were wrong about that. Turns out this is so-and-so. You know what I mean?
So they do that. They do that within reason. I will grant you that. That's how it's supposed to work. But I can give you concrete examples like dinosaur soft tissue and DNA fragments to where as long as the model doesn't threaten the 65 or millions or billions of years, if the model threatens those evolution, as long as it doesn't threaten evolution, yeah, you're right, they can change their model. But if it threatens evolution, they will not change it. And I give you an example of dinosaur soft tissue and DNA. It can't last millions of years, and still they're keeping the model. That's not how science works.